All right. Okay. We are checking in, and this is a different check-in from a different location. Let's do it though. Okay. Oh man, these check-ins are normally happening coming out of the hyperbolic chamber. I actually didn't train this morning, so I actually am doing this check-in at this stop after the job today, like a pit stop, and on the way to the House of Gratitude. So we're gonna get this done. All right. Timestamp. Currently 61 days to the target date. On the start date, we're looking at February 13th, Friday the 13th, actually. All right, let's just get right to it. Although there wasn't any training today, man, still got a lot to talk about. So let's get right into it. A lot of stuff has been going on, just real life stuff. And I mean, it's a journal, an audio journal, so I'm actually keeping you guys included with everything. All right. So I train at different hours than other people train. I'm usually at the gym early in the morning or late at night. So this gives me great opportunity to access the gym and the equipment better than during regular people hours. Plus, anytime I plan on doing any filming, especially when it comes to actually doing anything as far as recording for people that I need to record anything for, it's a good time for me. It's a good time for me to go to work. Anyways, I was telling somebody recently, there is one really kind of weird disadvantage to being up and about and around at that time of the day when there's hardly anybody else around, because I'm separated from the crowd or singled out from the crowd. Well, I'm separated from the crowd, so that automatically makes me singled out from crowds significantly and specifically when I'm on the road. Yo, let me tell you this. Being on the road when there's only a few cars at a time and the police officers are out there. Well, I guess if you're in the neighborhood where it's not that bad of a neighborhood and it is what it is, I'm sure police officers need to actually show that they're actually doing something besides sleeping in their cars or whatever it is that people probably do when they're working late shifts or overnight shifts or whatever. I mean, you get singled out. There's not really that many cars there. They're looking at every car, and sometimes I'm not saying that they're just looking for something to do, but I mean, if you need to look busy, I mean, single cars going by, perfect opportunities. You get to just, you know, pick any little thing. Anyway, with that being said, I have occasionally. I mean, I see people get pulled over all the time. I make sure that I leave early, so I never have to. I leave early, so I never have to like rush and speed because they're checking the speed limits all the time. Anyways, so yesterday everything's great. I got to. Oh yeah, I did mention that. I did get to. I did mention all this stuff yesterday in yesterday's journal. With me getting there in flat tire, all that. What I didn't mention was right at the end of when I was recording, I literally got pulled over. So as I was ending the video, I had flashing lights behind me. Uh, Literally, the police officer was walking up to my window right when I stopped the video. You know, and of course, I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Why did I get pulled over? I got pulled over because I had my high beams on. Mind you, I actually had to put my high beams on when I was getting air in my tire. By the way, for the record, I put that air in the tire, and the tire is right now fine. Anyway, which I don't know, just like I said, just a weird series of events. But anyways, I thought that this was really interesting, so I want to go ahead and share this. So the police officer, I will say, good demeanor. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he pulls me over. I'm sure he ran my tag, ran whatever. He saw me shutting off my phone for the audio journal. He knows that I don't really have anything wrong going on or whatever the case is. So, I mean, it is what it is. And he knows what he pulled me over for. He pulled me over because my high beams were on. So, I mean, come on, we know. It is what it is. Sometimes they could pull you over for something small, and hey, if it turns out that this small thing leads into the fact that you got warrants, so you got another reason for them to actually pull you in. I mean, it's a good segue to move over to get somebody. Anyways, that is not what my situation is. He had a good attitude and everything, so I ran the whole story down with everything that led to me being where I was. Oh, also, for my security system that I have at the House of Gratitude, I usually, and this is all the ways that I can access it, but I usually access it on my phone. So I usually have to finish doing my recordings before I actually access my security. I have this whole thing even before I open up my doors or anything, whatever. I have cameras all the way around. So I always shut the cameras out. I usually open the garage or doors or whatever the case is before I get there, so it's an easy access for me to get in. So it's a process. So occasionally I will pull over, finish my audio journal, and then do everything that I got to do do everything that I got to do to actually make sure that I get in. Anyways, this is the thing that I really want to say to everybody that's tuning in. So when the police officer hears the whole story, man, flat tire, I did my training anyway. Then, cut my training short so I could have enough time. I put air in the tire. I was going to change the tire if I had to, but it turns out, I bought a jack, and the jack came to the house with a whole bunch of other stuff. which kind of led to me not putting the jack in the car. And so it was just all this stuff. Anyway, the jack's in the car now. That was a silly mistake on my part. But here's the weird part. So I kind of tell the guy the story, and he just, and he has a really good attitude about everything. He's not one of those officers. And we know what I mean when I say that. You know, um, this guy looks me in the face and he says, "Oh man, probably God didn't really want you to train today." And I thought, wow, that's just an interesting statement for him to say. That I just, I had to politely just kind of explain, like, I see what you're selling, but I'm not going to buy that. There's no way that I was taking all that way to not go all the way. Challenges come, you got to overcome your challenges, and I consider it a win that I got my training in, and I'm about to get to the house and get to work on time and get all this stuff done. So there's this song. I listen to a specific genre of music that, helps me keep my mind and my spirit and everything moving in the right direction. And there's this one song in particular where the guy says, people will use my name, as far as, this is God talking, and the guy explains, like, God explains to him that people will use his name to discourage you. And I don't know if I've actually had that happen before. However, I thought that was really interesting when I got that message. I said, interesting. I mean, you got to consider the source, who's telling you that, and, somebody who, their interpretation of what they believe that, God's mission is, or being in tune with the mission, all that. But I don't know. Let me just get to it. You really gotta be careful, cautious of the source of any kind of, not just information, encouragement, discouragement. You should go forward, or nah, you should stay. I just want to make sure that everybody who's listening, you really gotta make sure that, and my relationship with God, it's probably been better. It keeps getting better and better, and especially with this music that I listen to, I get like a lot of important cues of things that I really need to make sure I understand. And I just want to make sure that I share that with everybody. You're gonna have somebody that wants you to do well, but not better than them. This is not the person that you want to be getting advice from. You're gonna have a person who is really bitter about their life and their decisions. This is not the person for you to be getting advice from, unless they're giving you advice on how to not. Unless they're giving you advice on, well, this is exactly how you don't do it. I think it's actually really interesting when a person is giving relationship advice and they have never had a successful relationship. and you kind of need to actually at least be in a successful relationship to actually still have one, unless you have a situation where your successful partner expired, you know, which is a horrible, well, a sad way to lose your partner. But yeah, I just want to let you all know, we're going to keep pushing forward, upward and through. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to see how things pan out between what I have going on this weekend and getting my last day of training in, how that kind of works out, pan out. But I'll keep it locked. All right. Share, subscribe, support. I mean, you could be anywhere but you here, so I'm really thankful for that. So until the next one, God willing, we'll do it again tomorrow. Yeah.